The most important thing that you'll ever learn about making money has nothing to do with actually making money. It's the hidden psychology behind it, the hidden beliefs, the unconscious patterns, the internal rules that decide what you earn. And they've been running your financial life way before you even made any money at all. Invisible, unchallenged, and completely in control. And without understanding this, you could spend the rest of your life doing everything right and still wondering why the money never quite shows up the way it should. The single greatest skill that you can have that separates broke people from the wealthy people is mastering the psychology of making money. And I know that because I lived on the wrong side of that for years. I was working hard. I was trying all the different strategies, I was doing everything that I was told to do, and yet the results still kept on falling short. And the gap between what I was capable of doing and what I was actually producing was huge, and it kept on getting bigger and bigger. The answer had been there for over 100 years. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychology, had already worked it out, and yet here we are. In all the business courses, all the coaching programs, all the strategy sessions, nobody mentions it. Sigmund figured out that the vast majority of human behavior isn't driven by the conscious thought, but by the unconscious mind, by belief patterns, and a script that operates completely below the surface of our entire awareness. Things that we don't know we believe, the rules that we don't know that we're following, decisions that we don't know we're making, until we look at the results that they've been producing. When I connected Sigmund's work to my own financial results, it was like someone turned on the lights, and I finally got it. The reason I kept on falling short wasn't because of my strategy, and it definitely wasn't because of my work ethic. It was a set of unconscious beliefs about money, about what I deserved, about what was possible for someone like me, about what wealth actually meant. That had been formed long before I even started my first business, and they've been running my financial life ever since, without my knowledge, without my permission. The moment I found out those beliefs, when I named them, I challenged them, and then started to replace them, and everything shifted. I went from doing $2,500 a month to my first 9K day, then my 26K month, 100K months, and all the way up to 500K months. Not because I found a better strategy, but because I finally understood the psychology behind why the strategy wasn't working in the first place. And that's exactly what this video is about. I'm Mindy, founder and CEO of Mind, Money and Business. I've helped business owners add an extra $100 million of revenue into their businesses across more than 87 industries globally and counting. In this video, I'm going to break down the 6 psychological principles of making money. Now, these principles have changed everything for me and every single client that I've ever worked with. So let's get into it. Let's dive into principle number 1. Before the strategy, before the marketing, before anything else, you must understand the unconscious program that's been running your finances. Most people never understand the real cause of their results, their financial results, isn't down to location, isn't down to luck, isn't down to the product or service, it's down to their unconscious story they've been programmed with. Now, most people try to mask the broken business by doing more marketing, finding a new strategy, working harder, working longer. But here's the thing, just imagine that your pipe has burst and there's water going on everywhere. Instead of you calling out the plumber and fixing the pipe, cutting it and putting some new joints in, you go and get some tape, you mask up the tape, hoping that it's going to stick. What happens? The water starts seeping through. And that's exactly what happens when you don't fix the unconscious beliefs around money, finances, and you spend more money on marketing. And this is why the marketing industry is massive, because everybody's always trying to fix a problem. Now, you probably tried some marketing inside your business right now. Maybe you've tried some different agencies, you've done lots of different things, and yet you find yourself still looking for answers. You still seem to be blaming the marketing, blaming the lead generation, blaming the advertising, but yet, how can that work when your subconscious mind is full of shit? So I want you to think about some of that stuff that goes on in your mind, that dialogue that goes on where I'm not good enough, this is so hard, this is this, money's hard to earn. Those are unconscious beliefs coming up to the surface, but you haven't identified that these are actually subconscious beliefs bringing it up to the conscious level, and that's why that internal dialogue is taking place. So how do you start to identify your unconscious financial program? And these are the patterns that keep on reoccurring. Just go take a look at your results. What's the most money that you've ever made in a single month? You probably find that your income goes up temporarily, all of a sudden it comes crashing back down. So there's a belief around you can't get past that certain level. Let's say you can't get past 10,000. And when you do, you get to 12, 13, it soon comes back down. So your upper limit is like a 10,000 a month belief system. So you don't believe that you can earn more than that. So figure out what your upper limit is right now. The part that you can't get past no matter how hard you try. And when you do get past it, it comes back crashing down to that same level. Now, before we go into the next steps, you've got to understand this first principle, that you have an unconscious idea about yourself, about money. That dictates how much money that flows into you. So it doesn't really matter how much you visualize, how much you do all the other kind of stuff, until you change that subconscious program and eliminate those beliefs and replace them. Only then will you start to win. And every other principle in this video builds upon the first one. So get the first one right before we start building the second foundation. And principle number 2, now you must rebuild your relationship to money. Your relationship with money was formed way before you could even question it. So go back to your childhood. What are some of the memories that you have about money? What was the topic about money spoken about? Was it always a lack of money? Was it that I'm not made of money, money doesn't grow on trees, and there's not enough to go around, rich people are scum? Think about all the limitations, all the limiting ideas that you heard, the concepts about money, all that negative talk. Oh, we've got so many bills, I'm drowning in bills, I haven't got enough money to pay it. Guess what? Your subconscious mind as a child, up until the age of around 7, is totally open. Your conscious mind really starts forming at a later age. So all that information that you gathered in, you internalized it. It became a program. This is why when you go to school, it doesn't take long to start writing, right? Same thing, you're programmed to write. Learning to read is a program. You're programmed on how to write. Unless you learn these things, you won't do them. Simple. So you've learned the wrong way to earn money. Now we've got to undo all of that stuff that's been going on before you can earn the money that you want to earn, because it's a written code. It's just like you program a computer. You put some code in it and it can do all sorts of stuff. This is the same thing. Like now we've got AI. You can train an AI bot to do X, Y, and Z. It can have a conversation with people. It can do tasks for you. It's just like that. Imagine that you are an AI robot that's been programmed to earn the money that you're earning. And these unconscious codes have been planted for many, many years. So now we've got to retrain your AI that controls your money. It's a great thing, right? Imagine that you got an AI part of you that controls your income. And once you train that robot, guess what? You start to earn more and more and more. Get a notepad and pen and write down 5 things that you were taught about money, successful people, wealth that were negative from growing up. And write down who said what and when. You might not remember the exact year, but who said what? Was it my father that said, I'm working for peanuts, money doesn't grow on trees? Write down the 5 things that are negative right now. So let's find 5 positive ones to rebuild the old belief systems into new positive ones. And then we'll plant them inside your subconscious mind. So guess what? You have a new money program. One thing that you've got to understand is that rebuilding this relationship with money isn't a one-time thing. You're not going to just identify these new belief patterns and it's going to automatically start to replace the old ones. It requires repetition, and that's where most people break down, because they're not willing to put the repetition in, because their money program controls their thinking, their ideas, their actions. Before principle number 3, if this is already making some sense, I put together a 5-day challenge, and there's a link in the description below where you can register for your seat right now. And over the 5 days, I'll walk you through exactly how to implement everything that we're covering in today's video into your life, into your business, so you can start mastering the psychology of making money and producing more wealth than you can make sense of. So make sure you hit the link below and register for your seat right now. Let's dive into principle number 3. Wealthy people make decisions from abundance. Broke people make decisions from fear, and you must be able to tell the difference. So let's take a look at what fear-based decision making looks like. This is when you're discounting, when you're over-delivering, when you say yes to the wrong type of clients, when you have that price hesitation and the pulling back from opportunities just as they're building. And this is what abundance making decision looks like. The pricing, the conversations, the client relationships, the investments, the risk without hesitation, believing in yourself, going all out. So next time you're making a decision, ask yourself, am I making this decision from fear or abundance? That will give you the answer. Ask yourself whether it's hiring someone, whether it's starting up a new strategy, adding some new products or services into your business, investing into a new property or something, whatever you're going to do, ask yourself, am I making this decision from abundance or fear? Now, fear is probably going to hold you back. So when you make that decision from fear, you're more likely not to take the action. Now, when you're doing it from abundance, you're more likely to take the action. So I want you to go back and ask yourself, when was the last time that you actually made a decision from abundance? And go back and ask yourself, when was the last time you made a decision from fear? And ask yourself a question. If I'd actually made that decision from abundance, what would my life look like today? What would that result, the outcome look like now? What controls you more, the fear or abundance? Principle number 4, your financial self-image is your income ceiling. Raise the image and the ceiling rises with it. So what exactly is a financial self-image? Now, every single person has a concept, has an image of themselves with their relationship to money, with how much they earn, how long it takes them to earn, how much money they have in their savings, what kind of hourly rate they are, and how they charge for their services. Every single person has the ability to change their self-image around money. Now, once you start to change your self-image of money, you start to look at the world in a total different light. You will start to see opportunities open up everywhere. Let's say that you're earning 100,000 a year right now. So your self-image is you at 100,000, and you're only going to make decisions that are going to keep you stuck at the 100K a year. Now, unless you start to change that self-image, your income will not climb. And when it does, it's very small and it's very gradual. It's not a quantum leap. So those people that have quantum leaps that go from earning 100,000 to 300,000 to 500,000, exactly like what I did when I went from earning 2,500 a month to my first 9K day, I had a quantum leap in my own self-image of myself and money. My relationship with money improved, and guess what? Money's relationship with me improved, and that's why I had more and more money. So if you're stuck, it's not because you're not working hard enough. It's not because you probably don't have a good product or service. It's because you have a limiting self-image around money. And this is your blueprint about yourself, the type of a person that you believe you are. And that belief controls how you act, how you behave, and who you attract into your business, how you price, everything. So how do you actually identify where your self-image is sat? Simple. Go look at how much money that you're making every single month. Go look at how much money you've made over the past 5 years, average it out on an annual basis. That will tell you exactly where your financial self-image is at. You want to change your income? Change your self-image, the income changes automatically. So some of the daily practices that you can deliberately start to use is ask yourself a question. Every time you have a limiting idea around money, ask yourself a question. Where is the proof in this? Why do I believe in this? Start questioning that limiting belief, and it will start to break away because you won't have any evidence to back up that limiting belief. It's just an idea, someone else's idea. Your subconscious mind accepted it. Just like it accepted it, you can let it go too. So just like I said in principle number 3, you stop making decisions from fear and you start making decisions from abundance, and that's when everything starts to change. Principle number 5, money flows to the identity that it believes it deserves. Become the identity and watch the money flow in such abundance, you'll be wondering where the money's been hiding throughout all those lean years. It's been said by a lot of people. In fact, Tony Robbins says this beautifully. He says 90% of success is psychology. Only around 10% is actual strategy. And he's big into strategy, but he understands the power of psychology. Now, you've got beliefs about yourself. Your psychology makes you up, makes your entire world around you. The home that you live in, the income that you earn, it comes from your psychology of yourself. Now, if you don't change your psychology of yourself, the beliefs about yourself, the perceptions that you have about the world, guess what? Nothing changes. You have a perception, and your perception about money is also controlled by your psychology. Now, if you don't change your psychology, your perception does not change, and what comes into your life doesn't change. So you've got to change your psychology before your income's going to change, because that's what's controlling everything. Once you understand the psychology around earning money, you'll find that your beliefs will start to change, the decisions that you start to make are more from abundance, the standards that you hold are much higher of yourself, and the energy that you broadcast attracts way more abundance into your life. So when that identity actually changes, the signal that you actually put out into the universe changes, and what you track back changes too. So if you're on the same frequency, you're going to attract the same thing. You heard the phrase, same shit, different day. That's because the frequency hasn't changed. You change the identity, the frequency changes, and what you attract starts to change too. And it doesn't make sense because you actually work less. And here's the other thing, it goes against logic, because logic says you want to earn more, you work more. So when you earn money logically, you work less and earn more money. That's illogical, isn't it? So how to start consciously building the identity, not as a performance, but as a genuine shift in who you are at the deepest level. And that's why when the identity is truly aligned with the income that you're going after, money doesn't just flow, it doesn't just arrive. It flows in abundance and it keeps on flowing time and time again. So principle number 6, mastering the psychology of money isn't just a destination, it's a foundation that every result, every income level, every breakthrough is built upon. Why mastering the psychology of money isn't something that you complete, it's not something that you do once, it's something that you do time and time again and you actually commit on doing. And you've got to be very observant in yourself. There's going to be challenges that you have in your business. It's going to knock you off course, but you've got to keep your mind focused on the outcome. You've got to be focused on what's going on in your mind, the kind of conversations that you're having, the actions that you're taking, the type of decisions that you make. So start to be consciously aware. Am I making decisions based upon fear, or are these from abundance? And start to maybe have a stock take of your thoughts on a daily basis and ask yourself a question at the end of the night. Did I make today's decisions from abundance, or did I live there from fear? And that will give you a good indication on how you can change tomorrow. Every single day, set yourself a challenge to start thinking differently, start acting differently, start making different decisions, and you'll start to see that your subconscious mind starts to respond. You start to form this new mental self-image of someone who owns a higher amount of money. Guess what? You start to attract the abundance into your life. So let's just bring this all together. The most important thing that you'll learn about making money has got nothing to do with strategy. It's got nothing to do with hustle, nothing to do with hard work. It's psychology. And the 6 principles that we covered today are the foundation of that psychology. Principle number 1, before anything changes, understand that the unconscious program is running your finances, because every other principle is built upon that foundation. Principle number 2, your relationship with money was formed way before you could even question it, and it must be rebuilt consciously before the financial blueprint is installed. Principle number 3, wealthy people make their decisions from abundance, whilst the broke people make theirs from fear. Because the psychology behind the decision determines the result before the decision is even made. And principle number 4, your financial self-image is your income ceiling, because income always gravitates back to the level that the self-image is set at. Regardless of what the strategy is, regardless of how smart you are, the self-image is what controls your income. And principle number 5, money flows to the identity that believes it deserves it. Because when the identity is truly aligned with the income being pursued, the flow becomes inevitable. It's guaranteed. And principle number 6, mastering the psychology of money isn't a destination. It's the foundation that every result, every income level, every breakthrough is built upon. Because the entrepreneur who's built the foundation doesn't just make more money, they make it consistently and they make more and more and they keep more and more. That's just the way it happens. Sigmund figured this out over 100 years ago. He said, master the psychology and the money will flow. If you like this video, you need to watch this next one right here. Now you understand that making money is psychological, that your beliefs, your identity, your subconscious programming are what really determines your results, your incomes, your finances. In this next video, I'll talk you through the 40 brutal truths that I wish I knew in my 20s that completely changed how you think, act, and operate as an entrepreneur.